Have you ever walked into a room, head high, calm in your confidence, believing your years, your experience, your presence alone speak for themselves? That what people see is exactly what you meant them to see? Well, I hate to say it, but there's something missing. And it's not your posture, not your voice, not your suit. It's something most men don't even think about. Because the truth is, women, especially women your age, they're noticing you in ways you've never been taught to understand. They're not looking at the labels on your clothes or counting the zeros in your bank account. They're reading something deeper. They notice the signals beneath the surface, how you move, how you speak, how you react when nothing's at stake. And here's what most men over 60 still haven't realized. The way you carry yourself now, at this age, it matters more than it ever did before. Because by now, you've seen things, you've lived through things, and that should mean something. So today, I want to show you 7 quiet things women instantly notice about you. Not the shallow stuff, not the charm tricks or tired compliments, but the real stuff. The kind of things that tell her if you're still alive inside, or if you've already checked out. Let's get into it. Let's start here. How you handle time. At this stage of life, the most valuable thing you own isn't a car or a home. It's your time. And women pick up instantly on how you treat it. Are you always rushing, anxious, distracted, or do you move with purpose? Do you know how to slow down without falling behind? A man who knows how to manage his time, and more importantly, be present in it, shows a rare kind of composure. Because presence is power. A woman notices when a man makes her feel like there's nowhere else he'd rather be. It's subtle, but trust me, it's powerful. That calm attention you give off? That's what separates a man who's aging from a man who's maturing. Number 2, the way you speak when there's nothing to prove. By 60, you've said plenty. So now, the question isn't can you speak? It's can you say something worth hearing without raising your voice? Women can tell within the first few sentences if you're secure in your words or just dressing them up to feel important. They don't need grand stories or old victories. They've heard enough of those. What they're watching is your tone, your rhythm. Do you speak with clarity or do you meander? Do your words land with weight or do they drift off like you're unsure they mattered? The most attractive thing you can do isn't talk more. It's speak with intention. And when you do, she listens, not because she has to, but because she wants to. Number 3, how you treat people who offer you nothing. This one, it speaks volumes. It's easy to be polite when there's a reason, when you're with a friend, a date, someone you admire. But what about the server? The man bagging your groceries? The young woman holding the door? Women your age? They're watching. They want to know, do you treat others well because it's who you are? Or only when there's something in it for you? Respect, at this stage in life, isn't about manners. It's about integrity. Do you carry yourself with dignity, even when no one's clapping? Because if your decency disappears when no one important is looking, she's going to see through that. Fast. Let's keep going. Number 4, your body language. You might not think posture matters much anymore, but I'll tell you, it matters more now than it ever did. Because how you stand, how you sit, how you walk into a room, it all tells a silent story. And women know how to read that story like a book. If your shoulders are slumped, your gaze is low, your steps uncertain, what you're telling her is that you've started to pull back from life. And that's a red flag. But a man who walks with his head up, takes his time, and owns the space he's in, that man doesn't need to brag. His presence says it for him. Confidence doesn't have to be loud. In fact, the best kind? It never is. It's in how you carry yourself, and women will always, always notice. Number 5, how you handle discomfort. Because life at 60 doesn't get easier, it just gets quieter. And women want to know, when pressure hits, who are you? Do you get irritated by the little things? Do you complain when your routine gets interrupted? Do you let your emotions get the better of you? Or have you learned to breathe through it, assess, and adapt? They notice how you act when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you've been thrown a curveball. And more than anything, they notice whether you let that discomfort make you small, or whether you stay grounded. Strength isn't about pretending life's perfect. It's about showing up with grace, even when it's not. We're closing in now, and this next one might be the most powerful of all: how you make others feel. At this age, you know the impact of words. You know the power of tone, of presence, of attention. And you also know that most people don't remember exactly what you said, but they always remember how they felt when they were around you. Women notice when you bring warmth into the room, when your handshake is firm but kind, when your humor uplifts, not undercuts, when your words create comfort, not comparison. You don't need to flatter. You don't need to sell yourself. You just need to show up with authenticity and awareness. When a woman feels safe around you, emotionally, mentally, energetically, you become unforgettable. Because in a world where so many men make others feel small to feel big, you become the rare one who makes people feel seen, without needing to steal the spotlight. And finally, number 10, your ability to grow, still. Because if there's one thing that separates men who age from men who evolve, it's the decision to keep learning. You're not finished. You're not frozen in time. You are, even now, becoming. When a woman sees a man who's still curious, still humble enough to admit what he doesn't know, still willing to change his mind, adjust, explore, she sees a man who refuses to coast. And that's rare. Because growth at this age isn't just admirable, it's deeply attractive. It tells her, this man hasn't settled. This man isn't hiding behind his years. This man is still living, still learning, and still becoming the best version of himself. And that, gentleman, is the kind of man she doesn't forget. So, if you've made it this far, here's the takeaway. Age isn't what defines your relevance. What defines it is how alive you are, how present, how grounded, how real. Because women at this stage of life, they're not looking for perfect. They're looking for real, for steady, for sharp, for whole. And when you carry yourself with quiet confidence, clarity of purpose, emotional strength, and the peace that only comes from earned wisdom, you don't just stand out, you rise above. And that's something no one can fake. Not at 30, not at 60, not ever. Let's move to number 6, your sense of purpose. Now, I'm not talking about career goals or building a business. At this point, you've probably done the hustle. You've worked. You've built. The question now is, what's keeping your fire lit? Because women can feel it. When a man still has a reason to get up in the morning, when he still believes in something bigger than himself. It could be mentoring, creating, serving, traveling, learning. Whatever it is, purpose gives a man presence. It gives him clarity in his eyes, direction in his step, conviction in his words. And a man with direction, even if it's quiet and personal, stands out in a world full of drift. On the other hand, a man who's lost his sense of purpose, who's just passing time, waiting out the years, that kind of man doesn't fade because he's old. He fades because he stopped living. and women feel that immediately. They know when a man is still reaching towards something and when he's just waiting for the credits to roll. Number 7, your emotional availability. Now, don't let that phrase scare you. This isn't about being soft or dramatic or talking about your feelings 24/7. It's about honesty. It's about being real. By 60, most men have learned how to protect themselves emotionally. But the truly strong ones? They've also learned how to connect. Women notice when a man is closed off, when he avoids vulnerability, when every conversation hits a wall, when he keeps the guard up, not because he has to, but because it's all he knows. But the man who can speak from the heart without losing his center? That man is rare. That man is magnetic. Because emotional maturity doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're stable enough to be honest, without fear. And a man who can share his truth, listen with empathy, and stay grounded in the moment, that's the kind of man women not only respect, that's the kind of man they remember. Let's go even deeper. Because now we're talking about something few men ever master. Peace. Real peace. Not silence, not isolation, but the deep, steady kind that radiates from within. By now, you've faced loss. You've faced failure. You've had regrets. And that's not a weakness, it's a credential. The question is, did you learn from those moments? Or are you still carrying them like weight on your shoulders? Women notice this more than you know. They feel it in your presence. Are you tense, defensive, resentful of how life turned out? Or are you calm, accepting, at ease with where you are and who you've become? A man who is at peace with himself, who doesn't need to prove, impress, or perform, is the kind of man who instantly puts others at ease too. And that peace? That's more attractive than anything you could wear, drive, or say. It's the signal that you've done the work, that you've come through the storm. And now, you've become the calm after it.